We've developed a short list of best practices for using Respondus Lockdown Browser. These 10 tips and tricks will help you use Respondus effectively every time. First and foremost, let Questrom ITS know if you plan to use Respondus Lockdown Browser. Besides being generally nosy, we like to know when people are using Respondus so we can help out. We've used Respondus Lockdown Browser before, and we want you to benefit from our experience. We can review your test ahead of time to avoid common problems, help set up a practice test, be on hand during the practice test to help students become familiar with Respondus Lockdown Browser, as well as be on hand to troubleshoot issues during the actual test. We can also reserve several ITS laptops with Respondus installed in case a student needs a backup computer partway through the test. Mostly, we want to make sure that Respondus Lockdown Browser works as smoothly as possible for you and your students. Second, have students take an ungraded practice test before the real thing. Why? Well, a practice test ahead of time does several things. It makes sure that students have downloaded the application ahead of time, saving time on test day. It ensures that students are familiar with how to use the application on test day, which reduces anxiety. And it highlights any major technical issues ahead of time. Any issues that arise during the practice test can be addressed before the real test, reducing the potential for technology-related problems during the test. We strongly encourage you to do a practice test. Practice tests should be conducted using the exact same computer the student plans on using for the actual test. Which leads to third, tell your students not to update their operating system between the practice test and the actual test. The practice test should be conducted on the same computer the student will use for the final test and with the same operating system. That way, if problems arise, they can be fixed ahead of time. If students switch laptops or update their operating system between the practice test and the actual test, then they'll need to do another practice test to ensure that everything is running smoothly. Updating without running a practice test could result in unforeseen errors and may cause issues during the test. Fourth, make sure your students close or quit all applications before beginning the test. Respondus automatically closes most, but not all, applications in the background. Applications running in the background can interfere with Respondus and cause issues during the test. The best way to avoid this is to have students close all programs besides Respondus. Keep in mind that applications must be completely closed, not just minimized. Fifth, make sure that students have downloaded the most recent version of Respondus and have uninstalled any previous versions. Respondus is constantly updating its software to improve reliability and usage. Having the most up-to-date version is the best way to ensure that taking a test will be issue-free. However, having more than one version installed can cause problems, so make sure that your students have only the most recent version installed on their machine. Sixth, tell your students to make sure their laptops are fully charged and to bring their power cords to the test with them. If a student's laptop runs out of battery power partway through the test, they will lose any answers that have not been saved. This is particularly problematic for short answer tests. Since Respondus blocks all pop-ups and covers up the battery power indicator on the desktop, students will not know that their laptop is about to die and will not be prompted to save their work. Ideally, students would plug their laptop in during the test to make sure they don't lose power. This isn't always feasible, so students should at least have a fully charged laptop. Seventh, have a few ITS laptops on hand as backups during the test. Chances are you won't need them, but it's always good to have backups just in case something goes wrong with the student's computer. ITS has laptops you can borrow for your test that already have Respondus installed. Eighth, add an exit password to your Respondus Lockdown Browser test in Questrom Tools. Hopefully you'll never need it, but an exit password is really useful if something goes wrong during a test. It allows you as the instructor to leave Lockdown Browser and exit the secure exam environment without submitting the student's test. That way they can return to it and finish the test later. This is helpful if a student gets sick partway through the test or if they run into problems with their computer. Make the password something easy to remember and generic. Don't use your Kerberos password. Ninth, follow all of Questrom ITS's best practices for using test and quizzes recommendations. We've made lots of tests and quizzes and worked with lots of faculty too. This list is designed to prevent common problems that we've seen here at Questrom. And 10th, be familiar with our troubleshooting guide. We've created a one-page guide to help you solve common problems during the test. It's a great resource to be familiar with and to have on hand during a test. ITS is happy to respond to problems during a test, but often the faculty member can resolve issues quicker if ITS is not in the actual room. We're happy to go over the guide with you ahead of time too. Have suggestions to add to the list? Questions? Let us know. Get in touch with Questrom ITS by emailing questromhelp@bu.edu. Thank you.